Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is me, good old Morris, at your service, and I'd like to share with you just something that I had peeped from the start of this spring of 2016, right here in the city of Detroit, Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. We have been experiencing a drought in the city of Detroit. There have been so many thunderstorms, so many big, huge, strong thunderstorm cells that has came directly toward the city of Detroit, and all other areas were able to receive these replenishing bodies of rain, and the city of Detroit has been completely void of good rain to replenish our city, our soil. Here, this strong thunderstorm cell right here, as you can see, it has passed the city of Detroit. Now, when this thunderstorm cell here was right here, with this oncoming thunderstorm to hit Detroit right here, this one, as I said earlier, was right here. And of course it passed through this whole line of, I'm doing a terrible job. It passed through this whole line here of thunderstorm activity. Once it hit Detroit, it broke up all of the strong red, huge rain pour thunderstorm cells. It broke up and looped under Detroit. This part up here that was over here, it looped over, and once it passed the Detroit area, it came back into one strong thunderstorm cell like what you see here. It looked identical over here as it does here. But once it hit Detroit, it broke up. And these strong cells looped under, and then it looped over, and then it came back together, as you see, in one strong, huge thunderstorm cell that is covering many parts of Canada. As you see, it's all the way down as low as Sandusky, Ohio. This was a huge thunderstorm cell here, and currently at 10:30 right now as we speak, Detroit is drier than a motherfucker. You would have thought that there was no kind of thunderstorm cells in our area, but a huge one giving heavy wind and huge rain pour. The red area would be the severe rain pour. That's heavy rain pour. The yellow is considered heavy rain pour, and the green would be the light rain pour. But this thunderstorm cell that you see here looked exactly like it is here when it was over here before it got to Detroit. And as I said earlier, this cell here, when it approached Detroit, the strong downpours, it looped under Detroit and looped over, and then it met back up with each other to shape up into this beautiful, strong and long thunderstorm cell that reaches all the way up to past Saginaw, Michigan, going into northern Canada, and south as Toledo and Sandusky, Ohio. A huge thunderstorm cell, and it's drier than a motherfucker in the city of Detroit, and it came right toward the city. Now we have this thunderstorm cell here, which is doing just what this one did. And mind you, there is a huge thunderstorm cell back here, and this one is a very big one, and I'll show it to you. in a minute. In fact, I can slide it on over so you can see what's approaching. Now this one is so big here. I'm hoping that this one right here will actually give us the rain pour the serious thunderstorms that approach our area. That would be the thunderstorm season and tornado season for our area. But as I said earlier, we have not received any motherfucking rain in the city of Detroit for the at least 10 strong thunderstorm cells that pass right by our area. And each time the strong thunderstorm cells, like right here, these things here would loop over Detroit and loop under Detroit, and then it will rejoin itself the way this one has done. So I'm going to cut this thing on so you can see. Now this one is doing just what that one did. Once you see this come toward Detroit, it's going to loop over Detroit and loop under, and it will rejoin itself once it passes the city of Detroit to make sure that the city of Detroit does not get any rain. My battery is low, and I'm going to have to change the battery, and I'm going to be back at you in a minute. I'm going to change this battery. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good old Morris, yes, at your service, and I'd like to share with you some things that I have peeped, yes, on the Detroit radar and Detroit Weather 101. And I would like for you to take a good look at the sky here. And this, which looks to be clouds, ladies and gentlemen, are not clouds at all. Now, I am no meteorologist, but I do have good common sense. And I can clearly believe my eyeballs when I see what the fuck I see. Just like Aretha said, I am no psychiatrist, and I ain't no goddamn doctor with degrees, but I got good common motherfucking sense, and I can believe my eyeballs when I see just what the fuck I see. Ladies and gentlemen, the state of Michigan is a very beautiful state. And the city of Detroit is a very beautiful, unique, and historic city. And the state of Michigan, ladies and gentlemen, is a very green state. The city of Detroit is a very green city. And we have some of the best vegetation in the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit nationwide. And I can tell you right off that Michigan is famous for our Michigan delicious apples. These Michigan delicious apples are very popular throughout this whole region, and I'm sure it's probably very popular throughout the nation, probably internationally. And the Michigan cherries are some of the best cherries that you're going to find anywhere on the motherfucking globe. And that list goes on and on and on. In the good old city of Detroit in the state of Michigan, ladies and gentlemen. But the grass is motherfucking brown in the city of Detroit because we've been having this serious drought in the city of Detroit. I'm going to zoom it out so we can look at lovely Irma Henderson Park with the brown grass. And the city of Detroit is a very green city. The state of Michigan is a very green state. Back to these clouds, or what appears to be clouds, which are not clouds at all. These are chemtrails. And many of us, we see these airplanes. We see Rick Schneider's and Mike Duggan's, Livonia Mike Duggan's airplanes way high up in the sky, ladies and gentlemen, and they are spraying these horrible chemicals all through the sky. And as those trails, they break up, they'll widen and they'll create almost like a mask or a shield all around the city of Detroit. ladies and gentlemen. And as I said earlier, I'm no psychiatrist and I'm no doctor with degrees. Thank you, Aretha. But I got good common sense, and I do believe my eyeballs when I see just what the fuck I see. I see nothing but pure chemtrails. And as we approach, looking over here, you can see many of those lines, and up under the line of chemical trails that you see, you can see where the sky is gray, but it's not the blue sky that you see over the chemtrails, and even that is not the blue color that it should be. It should be a much bluer color. But with all the chemical spraying, and this is a lot of chemical spraying in the city of Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, this is unbelievable. And I'm telling you, that coconut-headed, ugly ass, sorry, just wasted goddamn hard-on, a wasted orgasm. Talking about Livonia Mike Duggan. Yeah, you a wasted orgasm, man. And Rick Schneider, you a wasted motherfucking orgasm, and I hate you, pea-picking pappy. Mr. Livonia Mike Duggan, I hate your pea-picking pappy. KKK Rick Schneider. The reason why I hate your sorry-ass poet excuse for a goddamn father, because this was the motherfucker who unleashed your ass on the motherfucking public when he should have kept that nut in his goddamn nutsack. Yes. I hate your pea-picking sorry-ass, po-ass excuse for a goddamn father, Livonia Mike Duggan and Rick Schneider, because he was the motherfucker who unleashed a maggot like you on the goddamn public when he should have kept your sorry ass in his sorry ass nutsack. For your fakery and for your fuckery and for your theft and for your disdain for the people of Detroit to have these airplanes all day, all night, spraying these sorry ass chemicals, fucking up a beautiful blue, clear-skied summer day in the Motor City. It is a crime, and one of these good old days, motherfuckers like you will pay for the harm that you cause people and for the way you abuse real motherfucking power. These chemical trails here seem to have created some kind of a shield to block out all kind of thunderstorm rain activity that the city of Detroit has needed all spring and all summer long. These very thunderstorms that the city of Detroit has been voided of all spring and all summer long. These very thunderstorm and rain activities that our land needs. Look at the grass in Detroit, this motherfucking brown ass grass, the city of Detroit. And we are known for having the most green grass in the whole motherfucking country. And our grass is browner than a bitch, yes, in the city of Detroit, because of these chemical trails, yes. Chemtrails all through the goddamn sky, blocking out all kind of thunderstorm activity. And throughout the whole city, you can see where the top of the sky is bluer than the bottom of the sky. Those are chemicals all in our goddamn skies. And these motherfuckers that get there in these planes and they spray all day and they spray all night. And what looks to be clouds are not clouds at all. These are chemtrails, chemical trails, sprayed by this administration, the Livonia Mike Duggan administration, and the KKK, yes, Rick Schneider, KKK Duggan, in the city of Detroit, spraying all of these chemicals all around the city of Detroit. And I thought I'd share this really with each and every one of you, just to so inform. And I'm gonna get back at you in just a minute. Yes. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. In the city of Detroit, we have so much corruption here that we're being deprived of our rain because of all of these chemical trails. Every day in the city, I see these punk ass, really. I see these punk ass airplanes on a clear, beautiful summer day, and I can see these punk ass airplanes up in the sky, spraying all these chemical trails, and they would get the whole sky filled up with this ugly mess and fuck up a beautiful, clear day sky with that chemical trail particles up in the sky. And I believe that those chemtrails are creating some kind of a shield to keep rain, good rain, to replenish Detroit the way everybody else are getting replenished. Good rain that the people of Detroit are being void of to cause all kind of, insect problems, just a real dry and mildewy, moldy type of climate, where you're being void of the very rain that all places need to replenish their land and their soil. This could produce a horrible rodent problem in the city of Detroit. Terrible mold and insect, all kind of just fucked up problems. And some, right, I'm going to show you what this cell right here. Now it's approaching the city of Detroit. There's a strong a downpour of rain, another strong downpour of rain here, and another one right here. It's coming north to Detroit. But I want you to notice how once it gets to Detroit, all of this is going to break up. And these strong red cells that we need is going to loop under, and these here are going to loop over. And it's going to pass the city of Detroit. And Detroit is going to be dry than the motherfucker. And I want you to watch this here. And mind you, I've been watching this Detroit weather radar all spring and all summer long. And this has been the pattern. This has been the pattern for Detroit to miss heavy downpours of rain that we motherfucking need. Now, I want you to notice how these red cells here, they loop down. You see that? It didn't go straight and hit the city of Detroit. It looped up and looped down. Right there. See that? You see the cell here? It goes under, the red cells go under and over and completely missing the city of Detroit. And Detroit will get just a little drizzle from the light green area, which is an indication of light rain. Now, if you notice how on this cell, once this stops, this whole line, this whole line of thunderstorms on this huge one that passed the city about maybe a half hour ago, the red stays intact. It's a perfect straight line of strong thunderstorm cells, the red, which is the severe, which is what we want. And we've been missing this all spring and all summer long, which is our true rainy season in the city of Detroit, Michigan. As you see here, the strong cell that's coming toward Detroit, it breaks up once it gets to the city of Detroit. And those strong red cells are going to loop under and they loop over, completely missing the city of Detroit. And all we got with this huge cell right here, it's just nothing but drizzle, and it's dry than the motherfucker outside right now as we speak. In fact, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to show you just how dry it is with all of this rain activity that we have coming toward the city of Detroit, directly toward the city of Detroit. Okay, here's the city of Detroit right now as we speak. Okay, it's dry than the bitch outside, and we have all kind of thunderstorm strong thunderstorm cells that has passed the city of Detroit, that long one that I showed you, that reaches as far as north of Saginaw and of northern Canada, as far south as Cleveland, Sandusky, Ohio, Toledo. They all got wet, and we are dry to the motherfucker in Detroit, and it's still hot and humid out here at night. It's got to be about 75 degrees. It gets really hot in the city of Detroit. We have the Detroit River, which is a long river that connects Lake Erie, which is down there in the Cleveland, Toledo area, and as far as north as Lake St. Clair, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, are the Great Lakes states. So we have a lot of humidity. When you take our 90-degree temperatures coupled with our high humidity, any 92-degree day can easily feel like 102, 103 degrees. And you see how dry the city of Detroit is with all of the thunderstorm activity that has passed the city, that was meant to hit this city, and it completely missed Detroit. And this has been a pattern that I done peeped, yes, from straight from this spring on up to now. This is July the 13th, I believe, or the 14th, 2016. I'm going to check the date once I go back over there and get back on the computer. But I'm showing you a dry-ass motherfucking city when we're supposed to be wet, and we need that thunderstorm rain, the heavy downpours, which we have not received, but everybody else around the city of Detroit have. Every day, many of us see those punk-ass airplanes up in the sky, springing all those chemicals all through the sky every day. And it looks to me that these chemicals has built some kind of a shield around the city of Detroit to make sure that Detroit, the city of blacks, does not get the necessary, the much needed rain to keep our city replenished from unwanted insects, unwanted rodents, rats, and just to have our total land not being able to be treated, if you will, by good old Mother Nature. Thunderstorm cells that loop up north and loop down south around the city of Detroit, and then come back into perfect formation once it passes the city of Detroit. And I peeped it, ladies and gentlemen, and I thought that I'd share this with you. Now I'm going to go back and show you more on this radar. This radar. Yeah. Okay. I'm back at the radar. Now, as I said earlier, this cell here is just as this one was. A huge string of red thunderstorm activity, heavy rain. And you notice how as it stops on this radar, you can see a perfect line. But as it stops over here, this cell, you see how it breaks up. And the strong cells is going to shoot north and shoot south of Detroit to make sure that the city of Detroit does not get the heavy rain pour that we've been void of for this entire spring and the entire summer. No rain. And this looks totally compromised. This looks like those chemtrails, those chemical trails that we see, those punk-ass airplanes just spraying the whole sky with those chemical trails. And mind you, this is a pattern here. Every thunderstorm, we've had at least 10 thunderstorms since spring began, since May. Normally around May and well into June is when we have those heavy thunderstorm, heavy downpours with these strong red cells. These strong red cells are breaking up once they get to Detroit. This one did as well. It broke up and it circled north and south of the city, giving us this little punk-ass green area, which is light rain. It's dry than the motherfucker outside. I showed you this. Now, Mike Duggan's chemical trails that's blocking all of the thunderstorm activity to happen in Detroit. And this has been a pattern, a complete pattern ever since our thunderstorm season begun. The city of Detroit has been dry than a motherfucker ever since our thunderstorm season has begun. And as I said earlier, you can see, I'm going to pause it so you can see just how the size of this thunderstorm cell right here. Now this thing is approaching the city the same way this did. All of this right here, all up through here, approached Detroit, and this one looped down under, and this looped over, missing the entire city. And this one is doing the same thing, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to show this to you again right here. Now you see that this is a nice size, even though smaller than this one, but this is still a nice size and a really hot thunderstorm. This thing is pushing north to Detroit. Okay, and watch how it breaks up once it gets into the vicinity of Detroit. It's going to break up. See that? All of this, those strong cells keep pushing south, and they push north. And once they get past Detroit, they're going to actually come together again. And this is the kind of disdain and hatred that has been had for us in Detroit for as long as I can remember. Being a predominant majority black city with black people who was running this town. And we had black sellout politicians, a new crew of black sellout politicians who came in, and they gave all of our total black Detroit empowerment the hell away to Governor Engler and Governor Granholm and currently Governor Snyder. Our past three mayors punked out, and they sold us out, and they gave our whole future away, starting with Dennis Archer and Kwame Kilpatrick and the interim mayor Ken Cockrell and Dave Bean. And they served lily white interests, these black motherfuckers, these black cooning motherfuckers, yes. And they opened up the door to have illegally selected Livonia, Mike Duggan, to come in here and be the real white mayor, to come in here with the real lily white plan and squeeze us out of our own city government. And now we can't even get weather in Detroit, good weather, good rain in Detroit, because we still have too many black people in Detroit. So rain is not even good enough for us. As you see, this strong cell, it just breaks up the same way this one did. The same way this huge cell broke up right here. And the city of Detroit is dry. This is a lot of motherfucking rain here. This is a huge, very beautiful thunderstorm cell. And this area here gave many people in the surrounding metropolitan area of Detroit all kind of rain, but as you see, it breaks up once you get to Detroit. So I'm going to hope and pray that for the first time, that us, right here in Detroit, I'm going to hope and pray. That's right. That us, yes, us in Detroit, that we'll be able to receive a beautiful downpour of rain to replenish our land, to help to clean up our Detroit River. Yes. I'm thinking that this cell here, I'm hoping and praying that this cell here, this huge thunderstorm cell here with this strong red, yes, activity in here would be enough to break down these motherfucking walls that is surrounding the city of Detroit, to void us of good motherfucking rain to replenish our land and clean up our goddamn land like everybody else are able to. The corruption. You stole our schools, stole our city government, stole every city department, and you steal our tax dollars. You steal from our children, close up our schools, and you put our schools in this deficit, and I mean, you stole every penny. Every copper tone damn penny you stole. And now you would dare to insult our intelligence as to tell us that this way that we're going to forgive or to help the city of Detroit is to put Detroit in what, some kind of a $500 million loan after our money was stolen by the state of Michigan. The way to help us is to put us further in debt with 18% interest on these loans. The fuckery that we have to deal with in the city of Detroit, because the people of Detroit really are clueless and refuse to admit how clueless they are. We are a very religious people, and but we're going to have to get up off our asses. And please bring your Bibles and all of your scriptures. What a fight is to free us up from this corruption, because now we have corruption in our skies to where we're being voided and not being able to receive proper rain to replenish the Detroit land. This is a strong downpour here. This is a strong cell, but it gets to Detroit and it breaks up. And this has been happening all spring and all summer long in the city of Detroit. And we've been at drought status in Detroit all spring and all summer long. This huge, large cell here completely missed Detroit. And there was just like one area I know I saw in the northeast side of Detroit here that was able to receive a small measure of the red stuff, where you can get the good heavy downpour, but that was so little. One spot somewhere in the northeast section of Detroit received it, but the entire city, I'm telling you, it's dry in the motherfucking Detroit. This cell here, right here, beautiful cell, the smaller of the three, which could produce beautiful rainpour for Detroit, and it's missing the city. These strong red cells are looping under and over, and they're going to rejoin themselves once it passes Detroit, and Detroit would not receive any rain. Those chemical trails by our city government, who's doing this. This is on you, Mike Duggan and Rick Schneider. Yes. Blocking off the rain in the city of Detroit. We can't even get the damn rain. And when you see those people, those airplanes, spreading all of those chemicals all through the goddamn sky, this is evidently what it is. I'm no scientist, but I got good common motherfucking sense here. And with my own eyeballs, I've been watching this radar all spring and all summer long. And I've seen this same goddamn pattern here of strong red cells breaking up once it gets to Detroit, and these strong cells loop under and loop over the motherfucking city, ladies and gentlemen. And then they regroup themselves on the other side of Detroit, the way this one has done. You see how these lines here, they stay pretty much intact as they go, from side to side. Over here, though, it breaks up once it gets to Detroit. You see that? To fight issues and trying to inspire and urge other Detroiters to rise the fuck up. And you come and join me and all these other great Detroiters who would just make up the time to go to those council sessions and those school board meetings where the dirtiest and most rotten of corruption occurred by these so-called elected officials who voted against the people every week. And it is just unfortunate that we as a people do not understand the fact that while these meetings go on, there are microphones there with your name on it. And we do not understand that this is our duty, our responsibility to go to those meetings and make sure that these elected officials do not do anything wrong at those tables. And if they do, there are supposed to be thousands upon thousands of us there to put a stop to the bullshit that these motherfuckers vote yes on at those school board tables and those council tables. And now our council people are are really in exile as well as the school board members are. They voted their own ass out of real power with these consent agreements, and through this bankruptcy, there have been outside private shysters who have been appointed over these motherfuckers. Yes, after they gave the whole damn city away. They shouldn't even have a damn job. Our city council people, they put their own ass in exile when they voted for the consent agreement. So they're just sitting their ass at those council tables, ladies and gentlemen, and doing nothing but propping their asses up on those expensive ass leather chairs paid for by the taxpayers of the city of Detroit. And they have done nothing at those council tables but sat their ass in those expensive ass leather chairs and done nothing but left their ass print on the goddamn bottom of it, and that's it. The fact that the people of Detroit are being void of proper rain. Now I'm going to see how, right, it's 10:25 on the screen here, and it's 11:07 here. So this little punk ass cell right here has probably passed. It's probably behind Detroit, and as you see how it breaks up once it comes to Detroit. Once you see this right here on the other side of Detroit, it's been a pattern that you're going to see a perfect line of thunderstorm. Okay, so I'm going to flip it, and then I'm going to come back to it. Detroit weather. Yes. You know, the shit that we have to go through. Okay. Now, right. All of this has broken up. All of this has broken up. This used to be a strong thunderstorm cell, and as you see, it's past Detroit now. Okay? Now it's all broken up. It is past Detroit. So there's clearly something wrong with this picture here. This thunderstorm cell couldn't just be like this one here. A perfect stream from here to here. You can still see the whole line of strong red thunderstorm activity. But over here in Detroit, you see how it pushes north and south. Some kind of a shield is around the city that's not allowing these strong red cells to come strong and deep through the city of Detroit. And as I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, that this has been a pattern all spring and all summer long. All thunderstorms like these that came directly toward the city of Detroit miss the city. The strong cells loop over and they loop under. And this is a huge, beautiful one right here. Entirely missed by the city. This very strong cell here that was over here that came right through the city, and the strong red cells looped under and over, and then they reformed itself right here. Perfect formation of thunderstorm activity, and this is a very long one. And the city of Detroit is dry like a motherfucker. And these are strong, heavy pours here. Perfect rain for all the land. And Detroit missed it. And with all this kind of humidity that's still in our area right here, this would cause for terrible rodent problems, terrible insect problems, just horrible situation for the people of Detroit. This terrible drought that we've been experiencing all spring and all summer long is due to them motherfucking chemical trails that Rick Snyder and Mike Duggan has flying over the city, and they have created a perfect shield around Detroit. And you can see it right here on the motherfucking radar. Yes. Huge wide one here. It's a big one. You know, we can see the whole thing. This is a huge cell here, and it's approaching Detroit. This one is a lot wider, but this one has stronger red activity, red thunderstorm activity in it. and it hit Detroit, and it looped under. All of the red cells looped under and south and looped over north and bypassed the city, giving us this punk ass light rain, the green shady areas. That's all we got in Detroit, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a crime shame. You could hate a people so that not only would you steal every tax dollar and steal every tax dollar's service, and you would shut us out of our own city government, done by our own people, and the people of Detroit would not join in the fight to stop it. That's the real hurting aspect of it. This thunderstorm cell here that is approaching Detroit, I'm going to hope and pray that this strong cell here would be able to penetrate through those chemical trails that has created a wall. If you notice, right, if you notice how even from a distance you can see how once it approaches Detroit, it just breaks up and pushes north, and you'll see zero in between right there. Under and over and nothing for Detroit. All spring and all summer long. We should have had plenty of rain in the city, but this same pattern of these large thunderstorm cells not being able to penetrate through the city of Detroit. And this one, 9 times from 10, this one will not be able to give us the proper rain. Now I want you to peep this, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to see just how this thunderstorm cell down here as they approach all of these other cities over here, as well as over here. There will be no breakage at all in the thunderstorm itself as it approaches the city and as it sweeps through the city. Only in Detroit versus every motherfucking body. Detroit is the only city on this radar that's being left high and dry than a motherfucker. Now I'm going to turn this radar on so that you can peep all of this, ladies and gentlemen. You can peep how all of these thunderstorm cells are able to sweep straight through these cities here with no breakage of the thunderstorm itself. Okay? There it is, ladies and gentlemen. No breakage at all of these thunderstorms. They're able to sweep straight through the city. See this? But in Detroit, look at what's happening in the Motown G, ladies and gentlemen. There would be no thunderstorm activity that would be able to sweep through and penetrate through Detroit, ladies and gentlemen. And these cells, they loop under and over, and they're going to rejoin itself over here in this large thunderstorm cell over here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this huge thunderstorm cell that came directly toward Detroit, expected to storm right through the city of Detroit and go past Detroit. As you see here, there is a perfect formation. This one large cell that you see here was a real part of 2 thunderstorm cells. As I showed you earlier, this is the aftermath of what happened to the first and the second thunderstorm cell, full of red, heavy rainfall areas in this strong thunderstorm cell here. This strong thunderstorm cell produced much heavy winds and plenty of rain for all of these areas in this northern region of this nation. But it circled past Detroit. As you see, this thunderstorm is a perfect formation from top to bottom. But the city of Detroit didn't get not a goddamn nair, not a goddamn nam, not a nan, not even a motherfucking nary drop of goddamn rain in this whole thunderstorm cell that you see here. I'm going to turn this thing on, and it's going to backtrack itself and make its way through, and you'll see how that second wave of a thunderstorm cell that came after this large one that you see. It has joined and has become a part of this large thunderstorm cell here. Okay, the battery is low, and I'm going to have to get a new battery, and I'm going to get back at you in just a minute. Okay. Hey, I'm back with some more thunderstorm details, Detroit style. Okay, it's me, good old Morris, at your service, and I'm going to turn this screen on so that you can see the activity of this thunderstorm that just has swept its way right through the Detroit city region, and the city of Detroit didn't get not a goddamn drop of real rain. As you can see, the remainder of this second cell that had strong, right here, that had very strong red thunderstorm cells, but those strong red thunderstorm cells, once they got into the Detroit area, they turned into these here. You'll see it right here. The strong cells just jumped north with the quickness, and it swept past a huge area to join this large thunderstorm cell that completely missed the city of Detroit. Now, ain't that a bitch? Yeah. It's dry than the motherfucker outside, and we still have the humidity and the heat because of a miss of thunderstorm activity. And as I said earlier, for every one of these strong thunderstorm cells, like this one here, these strong thunderstorm cells with these huge, heated, hot, red, and some severe, those purple areas, that's an indication of real thunderstorm activity and heavy downpours of rain. And for all of the 10 that I've counted so far, 10 or more strong thunderstorm cells like these here that has approached the city of Detroit from the south and from the west, coming directly toward the city of Detroit, what would happen is that these strong red, heavy downpour areas here, what they would do once they get close to Detroit, they'll loop up north or loop down south and then rejoin the cell from the south to the north. And now, as you see, there's a perfect stream of the thunderstorm, heavy rain activity that the city of Detroit keep missing. And I believe it is due to those no count, really fucked up in the head, twisted, God complexed and superiority complexed white, yes, power structure in the city of Detroit and in the state of Michigan, who would allow, and we're talking about Governor Snyder, we're talking about Granholm as well as Engler, Duggan, and all the rest in between, corrupted politicians who have allowed for these airplanes, these punk-ass airplanes, to fly throughout the city of Detroit, and we watch these airplanes spray and spray and spray from their airplanes all these chemicals through the sky on some of the most beautiful, clear-skied summer days. These motherfuckers would get their sorry asses up there, and they would spray around these areas of the city of Detroit to make sure that the city of Detroit would not allow strong thunderstorm cells like these to sweep through the entire city of Detroit the way it's sweeping through all of these cities up here, and you don't see any breakup as they approach these cities. But for what I showed you earlier in the city of Detroit. Every single solitary thunderstorm, good people. The strong red cells that you see right here for good downpours of rain, good thunder, good lightning, real rain, downpours to replenish your land and your cities. These strong cells will, once they get about right here, and this is a pattern here for every single solitary thunderstorm that approached Detroit. Looking at this thunderstorm, you can see that it is right there with the city of Detroit right here. There's no way that it should have missed Detroit, but it was a huge miss. And we've seen this miss all spring and all summer long. A couple of weeks ago, or it could have been last week, we had another strong thunderstorm cell in my area. Just so happened to be the area that was able to receive one of these strong thunderstorm, red, really hot areas in the thunderstorm. And we got it down here by the river where I'm at. And the rest of the city went dry. Those strong red cells that approached the city of Detroit just swooped north and swooped south. And then they rejoined, they reconnected with each other. And as big as it was bigger than this one, but this one had the stronger, the hotter thunderstorm, real heavy downpour activity. It was stronger up here than this larger one that was down here. And it was headed toward Detroit, and as you can see, it's all broken up, and you have all the light rain indications with the green and with the yellow, semi-strong, but nothing that's gonna really make any kind of a real difference. And the city of Detroit once again has missed out on the much needed rain downpours in our city that we have been void of for the entire spring and the entire beginning of our summer season, which is our time to have much rain, our rainy season. And for the entirety of our rainy season in the city of Detroit, good people, we have missed out on every motherfucking last one of them. And this is a crime, and there is much to be paid. And it takes people like us in the community to really make some noise about this and about everything else that's going on in the black community that is straight up against us. And one of these days, ladies and gentlemen, one of these good old days, good people, we are going to stand, and we're going to stand up against this kind of corruption here, to be able to spray all these chemicals throughout the sky in the city of Detroit. And it appears that the end result of all of this spraying, chemical spraying in the city of Detroit, is actually blocking out our rain that is much needed in the city of Detroit, to keep the city of Detroit fresh and clean. And once again, we have missed out on these huge thunderstorms here with heavy downpours of rain, and all of these heated areas here are able to maintain its shape and intensity. But once it comes to Detroit, all of these red areas get broken up, and they shoot up north and they shoot down south. And I've been watching this radar all spring and all summer long, and this has been the pattern. The city of Detroit being voided of its rain excuse me, it's rain. And it looks like it's orchestrated. It's been done on purpose. Yet another fucked up situation that we have to deal with, that we have to put up with, being black in America, especially in the blackest city, the blackest major city in America, the city of Detroit. Detroit versus every goddamn body, because you're the blackest city in America. Detroit versus every motherfucking body, and I love it. I just want for Detroit, for everybody to be ready to stand up and fight the ugliness of corruption in Detroit and everywhere else in the nation. At City Hall, because that's where all the shit ends, or rather that's where the shit began, and that's where all the shit ends, right there at City Hall. And that's where every Detroiter, where every concerned person is supposed to have their ass posted at, and shutting down a corrupt city government. It takes thousands upon thousands of people on an everyday basis making serious demands and not leaving until their demands are met. Yes. Okay, it's a wrap. I thought that I'd share this with you, and I will share this with you later on tonight over there at Facebook, baby. Love you. In a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this thunderstorm cell here reaches as far north as Saginaw, Michigan, and that's really far north. And this thunderstorm cell, a real hot one, it reaches so far south as Mansfield, Ohio. This is a huge thunderstorm cell, and about a half hour ago, maybe 40 minutes ago, this thunderstorm cell was shaped very much like what it is here, and it was over here before this thunderstorm cell. And this thunderstorm cell, when it was over here, it extended way north and way south, and this thing was headed directly to the city of Detroit, this thunderstorm. And this thunderstorm, once it reached the vicinity of the city of Detroit, somewhere about right here, this is when this storm, it hurried up and shot up north and shot up south, and the rest of the thunderstorm activity followed it. But this hot area, this one here, this strong, really heated red cell, which is an indication of heavy downpours of rain, this strong thunderstorm cell, when it was right over here, it broke up almost to pieces, and it hurried up and it swooped up under Detroit. And this one here, this cell here, when it was right over here, it swooped up, it looped up north and come back around here to really create a perfect formation of thunderstorm cell activity. The reason this area here is yellow, because when this whole cell right here did not penetrate and sweep through the city of Detroit the way it was supposed to, it didn't pick up all of the hot and heated humidity that we had in Detroit. And for this day, I think it could have been 92 degrees, and with all the 90, damn near 100% humidity and heavy precipitation in our area, the city of Detroit was a hot zone, just like all of these over here are hot zones. But because this thunderstorm cell did not penetrate through Detroit. It did not pick up all the heat from the city to where this would have been dark red and pushing all of that heat out of Detroit and giving us good clear air and good revitalizing rain to replenish our soil, our land, our earth of Detroit. Detroit, good people. The reason why this thunderstorm cell did not penetrate and sweep through Detroit has resulted in this cell still being a strong cell, but it is not a hot, red, heated thunderstorm cell that this cell would have picked up from the city of Detroit. So the city of Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, has been left high and dry like a motherfucker. And there is just no disdain like the disdain for the people of Detroit, that with all of the chemical spraying that we see in our area, just about every day, every evening, you see those sorry ass airplanes way high up in the sky, ladies and gentlemen, and they're spraying the fuck out of those chemical trails around the entire city of Detroit. And this looks to me to be the reason why the city of Detroit is not able to have these strong thunderstorm cells to be able to penetrate straight through the city of Detroit, the way every last one of these thunderstorm cells are able to penetrate and sweep straight through all of these other cities without these thunderstorm cells breaking up before they enter the city, the way these strong, heavily red, hot and heated thunderstorm cells are able to knot these thunderstorm cells here with the heavy red. This is huge rain cells packing all kind of heavy wind and good downpours of real rain that the city of Detroit has been voided of for the entire spring and summer season, which is our rainy season in the city of Detroit. We get hot and heated up in the D every summer. And these thunderstorm cells are just very natural for our area because of the heat that we get, coupled with the high humidity and the fact that such a large thunderstorm cell could not sweep through the city of Detroit the way these thunderstorm cells are sweeping through every other city on this radar. But right here in good old Detroit, ladies and gentlemen, there is no thunderstorm for the entire spring and summer, and I've seen some 10 thunderstorms to approach our area, and every last motherfucking one of those thunderstorms were not able to penetrate the city of Detroit and sweep its ass right through it. And I've been on this radar all spring and all summer long. This thunderstorm cell here is actually a part of this one when it was over here, and it dipped further south when this cell swooped down so low. It took this one off. This was a higher up thunderstorm cell. It took on a different shape, and as I said earlier, this was a really strong thunderstorm cell that the city of Detroit really needed. This big ass thunderstorm broke up to pieces, and it just scattered itself all under Detroit, and all of these cities under Detroit caught the heavy wind. These things broke up very fast, and they curled around here. Evidently, there's some kind of a circular block to keep these thunderstorm cells from entering into Detroit. And just the speed that I saw those things curling up under here, I mean, that could have caused a motherfucking tornado for such huge thunderstorm cells, and I mean really dark and severe ones. That could have been a motherfucking tornado with this unnatural flow of of thunderstorm cells. They were supposed to move naturally. And this thunderstorm, I can't even pronounce thunderstorm, but this thunderstorm cell here was actually more over here as it was approaching Detroit. And this kind of circular self-imposed is what I called it, due to those goddamn chemical trails that those motherfuckers get up there in those damn airplanes and spray all goddamn day and evening. And yeah, and so this is what it is. The reason why this thunderstorm cell here is so yellow is because it missed Detroit, and all of this heat and humidity is still trapped in the city of Detroit, whereas everybody else got the good thunderstorm. This large cell right here is not going to hit Detroit. This cell is going to loop up and it's going to hit Livonia and Warren, Oakland County, St. Clair Shores, and it's going to miss the Detroit area. This is the Detroit area right here. And this one, both of these are intended for Detroit. This large body of thunderstorm activity cells are also headed for Detroit. And as I said earlier, this thunderstorm cell was actually about right here. As it approached Detroit, it began to kind of move away up north, in a more northernly a spiral. Whereas it was more over here, it pushed that way, straight up. And of course, when these thunderstorms hit the vicinity of Detroit, which is about right here, these things broke up to pieces, but none of these did. None of these did. These stayed well intact. It was only when you're over here in Detroit. This is Detroit versus every motherfucking body, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the way it's been ever since Coleman A. Young became the first black mayor of the city of Detroit. And he was a bad motherfucker, I'm telling you. He ran this motherfucking city, and he did not allow any outsiders to come up in this motherfucker that we call Detroit, to come in here and try to run shit. If he wasn't running it, wasn't no motherfucking body running it. If Coleman A. Young, the honorable Detroit Mayor, Coleman A. Young, if this man was not running the fuck out of Detroit, wasn't no other motherfucker coming up in Detroit and call themselves to be running the city of Detroit, ladies and gentlemen. And it became Detroit versus everybody. And it was just that plain and simple. Point blank. Yes. Detroit versus every motherfucking body. And you see it right here on the radar. Thunderstorm cells intended for the city of Detroit that will loop over and loop under Detroit and rejoin itself on the other side of motherfucking Detroit. And this shit is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And these thunderstorms over here will be able to sweep clean through every one of these other cities down here. And there will be no breakage of these thunderstorm cells itself. But only in motherfucking Detroit, where there will be absolutely no downpours of heavy rain with all of these heavy thunderstorm cells that ain't got nothing but pure motherfucking rain in it. This huge thunderstorm, as I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, I was right here looking just like this, and it just swept straight through and around Detroit, but through every other city. These large thunderstorm cells. And with the unnatural movement of these thunderstorm cells as they swoop under Detroit, the unnatural, because there's clearly something wrong, and this has been a pattern all spring and all summer motherfucking long. And I've been at this radar all spring and all summer. And you have many people who are noticing the drought that we have in the city of Detroit. And I'm telling you, the state of Michigan is a very beautiful state, and the city of Detroit is a very beautiful, unique, and very historic city. And the state of Michigan is a very green state, ladies and gentlemen. So is Detroit. Detroit is a very green city. We produce some of the best vegetation and some of the best fruits nationwide. Two things I can tell you right off that the state of Michigan is known for those Michigan delicious apples. And those Michigan delicious apples are very popular throughout the whole nation, probably worldwide. Michigan cherries are ranked as among the best motherfucking cherries you're gonna find anywhere on the goddamn planet. And the city of Detroit is the only city out of all of these motherfuckers on the radar who is being denied entry of these thunderstorms to sweep through our cities and replenish our land, our soil, and clear up our goddamn air from all of this motherfucking intense heat and high humidity. The main reason why this cell is still yellow and not red like these is because this cell was not able to penetrate through the city of Detroit. And had it been able, this cell down here that swooped under Detroit, but had this cell been able to sweep through Detroit, this whole thing would be red. It would have picked up all of that goddamn intense heat and humidity that we have in our city. And this is why this still yet a strong yellow cell is still yellow. It would have been red. And you can just look at the radar and you'll just see how all of these cells are just looping over and under and around Detroit. And you don't see this kind of bullshit going on nowhere else on this motherfucking radar. Nowhere. Just Detroit. Detroit versus every motherfucking body. Yes. The blackest major city in America, and Detroit has been that ever since the 60s or the 50s. Detroit versus every motherfucking body, because you had black motherfuckers in power in a predominant black city in a major town here. Detroit versus every motherfucking body. Can't get no goddamn rain because there's some kind of a wall, a shield, and I'm blaming those chemical sprayers up there spraying all of them ugly ass goddamn chemicals on some of the most beautifully clear skied days and evenings in the city of Detroit. You see them goddamn planes up there spraying all of that unnecessary ugly ass mess. Corruption in our skies. Not to mention the sorry ass, corrupted ass, dirty ass, white popos, crazy ass, KKK killing goddamn cop police who were unleashed on the black community of Detroit. Motherfuckers who ain't even from the community of Detroit. And that's another video I have yet to do. Thunderstorm 2016 in the city of Detroit, where the city of Detroit is being denied rain in every other city over and under Detroit and around Detroit are able to receive their proper rain. And these are some things that we all should know. These thunderstorm cells down here will stay perfectly intact and they will sweep through every one of these motherfucking cities down here. And everybody is complaining about a drought in Detroit. Well, here's your motherfucking drought. Those sorry ass chemical sprayers up there spraying all of those unnecessary ugly ass chemicals all around the entire city of Detroit. And this seems to be resulting in thunderstorms not being able to sweep through the motherfucking city of Detroit, ladies and gentlemen. These thunderstorm cells are sweeping straight through these cities and no breakage at all. But over here in Detroit, you see these things, these cells just going over the city, under the city.